Yeah, recording started.
Okay, I'll share my screen. My screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Okay. Firstly, thanks for joining for the day two of this UiPath Apps series. So yesterday we saw what is basically UiPath Apps, and then some basic functionalities that we use in UiPath Apps. What are components? What is App Studio? How do we build and how do we run? And different controls we had with UiPath Apps. So all those basic things and fundamentals of UiPath Apps yesterday we discussed, and today we'll discuss some advanced features, and then we'll build our first app, followed by Lakshman's autopilot explanation. Okay. Before starting, so one thing, just think of your last onboarding experience in your new company, where you had to take where you have to interact with a lot of websites, and then you have to fill a lot of forms, and then that will be shared to HR or someone, and they have to process and they have to fill a lot of apps, a lot of forms. So all these and these navigations can be eliminated with your path apps. Simply you can create an app and then give that, and then this app will interact with different elements, different services. For example, it will interact with workday. You just type your details in your form, and then that will be interacting with workday. That will create a job, and then someone if someone files for job, after interview, onboarding experience also can be completely automated. So that's let's start with that. And to go in depth with UiPath apps, let's see the application lifecycle management. How do we develop the application? How do we test it? And what all things that will be there in lifecycle management. So, firstly, testing and publishing apps. After we develop an application, or if you make any changes to existing one, testing will be happen with that new version, and it is highly recommended to follow the testing mechanisms to maintain to have the high quality. So UiPath allows you to have preview apps, as yesterday we saw. So that's where you test your application. Today also we'll see how do we test an app, and that will be a simple way to test your application. You just have to click on preview, and then that will open the local host. I mean, if you develop a web app, if you have to test your web app, you'll run the app in your local host, right? So just like that, here we have a feature called preview. So you can click on that, and that will open a test kind of interface for your app, and then you can interact, and then you can see how the data is flowing. So that's the first part. And then publishing. So here we'll have versions also. So to manage your deployments, we'll have versions. So every time you publish, it's better to, I mean, a new version will be automatically created. You can adjust the convention of that version also. And next, permission management. So once you deploy your app, so here we have two levels of permissions. First one will be folder level, and second one will be app level. So if you give access, I mean, if you create roles according to folder level, you can assign that roles to users with folder level, and then they'll have access to all the apps that are under the folder. And then if you want to specifically restrict within app, then you can use app level, you can create app level roles, and then you can restrict the app only for limited users. And app versions, as I mentioned before, every time you create an app, a new version will be generated, and that will be within your cloud tenant. And then the there will be version history table as well, like so if you deploy multiple versions, then there will be version history where you can see who published the new version, and then when is it published, I mean, date of the published date and time, and then to which tenant it is published. And all these details you can manage in manage app versions. And public apps. So if you want to give that, I mean, if you have to make that app accessible anyone outside the automation cloud, so there you can so these apps will bypass the user security authentication. And then so once you check that option, I mean, yesterday I showed you how we checked the public apps checkbox. If you check that, and then it will pass the user security authentication, and then within that URL, if you just share the URL, it will be shared among the users, even if the user is outside of automation cloud. And finally, apps in solution management. So first three, like we created app, we built an app, and then we published it, we managed the permissions, and then we managed the versions. And now so if we create an app in one tenant, and then if you want to deploy that, then we'll have something called solution management. If you want to understand more, you can see solutions management sessions in YouTube as well. So the solutions management is nothing but it will group all the components that are related to app. For example, if you develop an app in pre-prod tenant, and you will have components related to that app, right? So assets and then processes and everything. So if you have to deploy that version from pre-prod to prod tenant, then you have to manually download these packages, download the app, and then upload in prod. That's how it's happening now. So with solutions management, you can make a package of all these components that will contain app, assets. If there are triggers, then triggers. Then if it is, I mean, if there are data services all included, data services as well. You can bundle that into single group, and within one click, you can just deploy this entire bundle to prod tenant. So that's how the deployment happens. That's what solution management is. So for in detail, I've made some videos in YouTube. You can follow my channel, and then you can see in detail. I mean, in-depth knowledge of solutions management as well. So before getting into autopilot, let's start today's demo. So today we'll create an appointment form. So when user have to meet an employee in any organization, he has to fill an employment form, right? So based on that employment, so whoever enters the form, I mean whoever enters the building, they have to fill a form. So this app can simply be helpful for them. Like they can fill the details in the app, and that will store the data in database. So that's how we're going to build now. So let's go to the cloud. Let's go to apps. So firstly, to create such an app, we need a database, right? So for database, you have to navigate to data services. So let's create a new entity. So entity is nothing but a database or a data table. So these data services will be a database, and then inside that entity will be a data table. So appointment DB. Let's keep it like that. So once you create DB, you have to create fields, right? I mean, sorry, once you create your entity, you have to create the custom fields that you want to store in that. So open that. So these are by default records that fields that we'll have. So upon that, we have to create fields. So firstly, let's take employee name. Let employee number. I'm keeping the type as text. So you can, if you want, you can change that also. So the final one, employee, I've created employee name, employee number, and then let's keep it like whom to meet. So these are the three fields that I'm requesting from user. Then if I have any data, also when user enters the data from app, it will be stored here. So firstly, we created data services. Let's go to apps again. Let's create a new app. Let's name it appointment application. I'm taking a blank page. So we created three fields, right? So let's take three controls. So first one is to get employee name, expression editor, and let's take one more control. Set it the name to employee number. Then add one more control to get employee to whom he is meeting. So check one more text box. Let's name it. Whom do you want to meet? Click on save. So once the user enters these details, he'll click on submit. Upon clicking on submit, this data has to be transferred into DB, right? Let's take a button. So let's change the name of the button to submit. So we have taken 3 fields and then we taken a submit button, right? So these controls we saw yesterday. So now to understand the more on the backend part. So these are just like user interface part, but there are like sub panes here, like general, events and style. So firstly, events and rules. Events and rules will enable you to create interactive and dynamic applications. So just not just entering and then it will be there itself like a static application. So with events and rules, you can make the application more interactive, and this will allow you to respond to the user interactions. So for example, he enters something, then with these events and rules, you can add conditions to that data, and then you can reply to the user accordingly. So for that we use events and controls. So simply events are like triggers. So for example, if I want to enter and then click on submit, it has to enter these details to data services, right? So that will be a trigger. So for that we'll create a rule. So that's our events, and here we'll have a few of the basic events like clicked on. If something is clicked, then we'll have button, just like I've used button here, header, label, icon, image, and value changed. So if some value gets changed, then trigger an event, something like that. And then we'll have check boxes, all these as an events. And then rules are like so for example, if you want to what actions your app takes when certain event occurs, so that you'll define in rules. So for example, if user gives something and then click on submit, then start a process, and that will start a process, something like that. So that will be rules. So these are this is important one, like to make your app more dynamic. So that's about events. And then if you want to style your page into a beautiful, I mean, add some css and all, so you can do that in css. Like for example, if I select that, you can align it to center, left or right, all that you can do. If you want to fill that entire page within the name, you can just stretch it. And let's take this also and then stretch it. So if you want to make a color for background, then you can make it. Also you can add sizes and you can add margins also, and then you can even make a bold, italic. So all these styles will be done in styles page. That's about styles and events. One more thing, important thing here, UiPath apps now will allow VB expressions also. So these VB expressions will be used to bind values to controls and variables, and you can format the data just like how you need and how you do in Studio Family. For example, if you receive a date and then if you want to modify that, you use VB expressions like datetime dot parse exact, something like that. So these are all VB expressions, right? All those VB expressions can be used in UiPath apps as well. So that's about VB expressions. Now that we know like what is events, what is style, and what is expressions, now let's do it in one example. So now we created a user interface form, like user will enter these 3 details and then click on submit. So on clicking on submit, these records should be stored in database, right? Let's click on create rule. Before that, we need to add data services to our app. So for that, you have to go to this. you have to click on this small icon. Here you will see multiple integration services. So these are integration services. You can add a connection, you can add a process, you can add a storage bucket, you can keep a queue, or you can keep a media, or you can create an action also from here. Like if user creates and submit, then an action item will be created in action center. So if you add this, so for now I need entity is nothing but data services entity. Click on that. So we created a database data table right there. So now we have to select that data table here. So the name was appointment DB, right? So select that, click on add. So now if you see, so these are our web page details and these are our entities that have been added. So on clicking on submit, I have to create an entity in this entity, like appointment DB, right? Search for create entity record, and under entities you can select to which DB it has to store, and it'll automatically give you the fields that are available in that appointment DB. So now, so user will enter something in this text box, which will be an employee name. So that employee name has to be stored in under appointment DB into employee name, right? Let's go to that. So we have that rule defined in button. Go to button, events, edit rule, and then firstly we need element from text, right? So that is under main page. Search for type main page. So this is what VB expression is. So to make it, to show it properly for you, so this will be our VB expression. So first we have to access main page dot first text box, right? So if you see here, these are different text boxes. Text one, text two, text will be first one, one, two will be second and third. So from the value of text one, I need so value, and that will store in employee names column. Similarly, I'll type rest of the two also. Can just copy paste and then change the end name. If I to get this IntelliSense, just have to do control space and then it will show you. I'll just keep dot, it will come, and if I click somewhere it will go off. If I want again, just control space and then that will show you the IntelliSense. Text to dot value, control save. So once it creates, it will store now. So let's close this. And then as I told, once we are done with the building, we have to test our app, right? So this is the preview option. So you can just click on preview and it will launch in your local host. Assume it like a local host. Let's enter name. I'll enter something. I'll enter through and click on submit. So now we don't know what is happening there. I just clicked on submit. Then let's go to data services now. Appointment DB under data. So it entered that record that I've entered there into our DB, but it's not that user interactive, right? So we clicked on submit, we don't know if there is an error or these details are entered or not. So let's take a show message now. So once we click on submit, it will pop up, it should show a pop-up showing that your entry have been successfully submitted, something like that. Let's close the preview and so let's go to the rule again. So click on submit, then edit rule. So when created, I need to show a message, right? If you just click here, it will show you the rest of the options. Selecting show message, appointment form. I just want to show entry added successfully. Click on save. and you can be setting the auto dismiss for 5 seconds. So if your user doesn't click on OK, it will automatically disappear in next 5 seconds. If there is an error, then you can add a next show message also, to show that like you enter details are wrong. So for now I didn't use any regular expression checks or something like employee number should be it should have only 9 numbers, it should always start with string. So all those rules I didn't add, so for now I will not get any error. So in case if you add those, then you can, on error, you can just keep a show message and tell the user like please enter the employee name properly, something like that. So okay, so I've added show message. Let's get back to main page, click on preview again. Enter this details again. Mm, so something, click on submit. Now it showed entry added successfully. If I don't close, it will close after 5 seconds. And let's go to data services. Let's refresh. And let's go to data, and then you'll see the next entry that has been added. So likewise, you can create an application that'll interact with. Now I'm interacting with only DB. Similarly, you can add a process also. If you just add the process will be added here as a separate category, and on rule. So for example, here you can just click on add a new rule, and then you can see here different options. You can see start process, so you can just use start process, and then once you add the processes here, you will see all the processes that are available in the tenant. That tenant, you can just select that, and then process will be automatically triggered. So that's how you start a process when you click on submit or when you click on approve or something, just like that. So you can add action item as well. Once user submits a document, you can use this, and then this document will be submitted via as an action. I mean, it will create an action item for this document, and then from there user can interact, adjust the values or something, and then proceed to next element. So something like that. Okay, um, this is one example. And hmm, so you can also do a sum also. So for example, let's take one more app. So that's about appointment application. So that's our main use case today. And then Lakshman will show you the autopilot part as well. Let's create one more simple app like calculator. You can start with this calculator app. So if you're learning UiPath apps, just to know how the VB expressions are working and something like that. And click on select, add two text boxes and a button. You can ask a value here, you can ask b value here, and then for button you can write an event, create a rule, show message, and then under message you can just add here, you'll type the VB expression like should be sum equal to plus, just like how you can concatenate in UiPath Studio. Page, from first text box I need value, plus from main page from text one I need value. And if I leave it as it is, it might sometimes it might fail. So let's keep it like convert that to a string. Click on save. It's that simple. It just took me hardly a minute to create this app. Click on preview. Just enter 2, 3, submit. It is 23 because I'm not taking it as integers. So it's just concatenated those two. If you want to take that as an integer, go here. Instead of text box, take text number. One more call text number. You can use this, and then keep that number here, and then you can do the summation. or else within the VB expression also you can change. For example, if I go here, I can just convert this. I can just use C and C int for this also, and now it will convert that value to integer and then it will sum. You can save, go to main page and then click on preview again. 2, 3, this button, now it shows 5. So that's how you play with that. That's how you can play with VB expressions within apps, just like how you do in your Path Studio. Okay, those are all my use cases for today. Lakshman, can you share your screen?
Yeah, sure, Mudda. And guys, if you have any questions or anything about this session, so please ping in the chat window. Let me share my screen. Let me know once my screen is visible. Hello.
It is visible, Lakshman. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so far you have seen right how the Muddu created the login form. He have first created the data services and then created the apps with the some certain controls and all. Now similar one with this autopilot option, we can see how it will be created within one step. It is autopilot is nothing but AI powered feature in UiPath apps. By using this, we can easily create with one single step. So it will save a lot of time for us. We can create as per the any creation of app with minimal manual intervention. So I'm going to show how can we create that one. For today's demo purpose, I'm taking one image and one PDF, two things. Let me show you this is the image. Let's say in one of the project, manager discussed create this form with the developers. So in the high level dashboard, we can the manager discussed about this form. Just we can take this pic of that image and we can upload into the auto pilot feature. It will easily create the form. For the today's demo purpose, I'm sure creating this form with the employee details. It will take name, age. Here if you want to define any particular rules also, we can define it. Here for age, I kept the age should be more than in between 18 to 60 years. And city, we are selecting four cities I mentioned: Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Chennai. And phone number should be 10 digits, and email ID should be in the email format. And then there is a button to click add employee. So just I will upload this image into that autopilot. It will create the form for us. We'll see how it will do. Let me go to this autopilot feature. Here you can see this is the autopilot. Here there are so many. They give some suggestions also how we want to pass it. We can just pass some normal text to natural language way, and then click on send. It will create the form. Else we can attach the documents also. It will accept PDF image, and the image also should be in the .png or .jpg format. Only it will accept only those two formats. Create entity is nothing but it's Muddu showed in the previous session. Data services, it will be kind of one database that will be part of an UiPath cloud platform. There we can save all the bot related data, or any app data, anything we can save it there. So if in our process, if required, we can create the entity, else you can uncheck this box. So now I'm clicking on this attach button. I'm selecting the image here, then clicking on OK. It will take couple of minutes to create that form and all. You can see pause it generating the layout and all now. And then it will create the data service also. I will show you those things. Yeah, layout is generated. Now it is initializing the app. It's generating all the pages. No need to think of any controls. What controls you need to use. It will generate everything as per the image you have uploaded. Just minimum manual intervention is required. Now you can see the entire form is created. Even entities also created. Employee details. Let me go to the data services. This field is like if you want to save any data in the starting step, you need to use the create entity. Here you can see employee details. Just now it got created few seconds ago. If I click on this employee details, and whatever in the form we have all the details, by default 5 parameters will come like id and all. Other than along with that, a few more things are created. You can see employee is, it is part of the form. In the form we have 5 fields are there: employee name, age, city, phone number and email. All the fields got created here: employee age, employee phone, employee email id, city and all. As of now we didn't submit any data, so it is data is currently it is showing as blank here. Let me go to the again apps. See, it created all the main page with a control, and this is the employee details page. Here if you can go one by one field, you can see whether it is for header field. You can see this is for header. If you want, we can do the changes from the left hand right hand side. You can see under general tab, this is the employee details. If you want to do the name change also, we can do it. So name, age, city, email id, everything it got created. Now let me click on preview here. See, in the image I have mentioned the, for name I didn't define any rule, but for age I have mentioned the age should be within 80 and 60. So if I'm giving the age is less than within that limit, it will show some error. See, value should be between 80 and 60 only. So even not only it created the form, even it created whatever the rules we defined in that screenshot. It is creating those rules also. Under city, we have selected the 4 cities we have mentioned: Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Chennai. If in the city field, you can see Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, and Chennai. It not only creating the form, even it will define all the rules also. Let's say I'm entering the name like Lakshman, and age is, if we enter the date, age is less than 18 and greater than 60, it will show the some warning also. It won't allow us to submit the button. So I'm keeping the age as 30. So if I'll enter the within the range, so that error gone. City we can enter, and phone number and email id we can enter. Once I click on add employee, here we didn't add any messages or anything, so it didn't. But if we'll go into the employee details and let me refresh it, go to the data section. Here you can see data got added: employee, city, Lakshman and all. So with one simple click, we can create the entire form. Just we need to do any changes, any, if you want to add any additional rules or anything, if you want to trigger any process or anything, so only those things only you need to configure. Remaining all those things, one simple click we can easily convert image into the UiPath app. This is very powerful feature in the UiPath apps. For each and every, UiPath has come up with autopilot feature for all the UiPath products. Similar way for UiPath apps also it come up with this feature. Let's say for age we have defined the rule, right? So we can see where condition is referred. See, it is defined the minimum value as 80, maximum as 60. Whatever in the screenshot we mentioned, It took that conditions here is 1860. Though if you want to manually change any that values, we can change it here, min and maximum value. Just click on this expression editor. This is the for maximum value. If you want to change, we can change it. Let's say I want to change it to 65. Then clicking on save. It will be auto save for every 30 seconds. If you want to save it manually, you can click on save now. Again, if we'll see whether if you want whether the values reflect or not. So we'll see. Let's click on again preview button. So whenever we are creating any app, we can click on preview and see whether everything is proper. Then only we can click on publish. So this is one of the best feature also in UiPath apps. We can do preview also. Now we have changed the value to 65 at maximum. Now I'm giving the value. Let's say I'm giving 62. Okay, let's got saved. Okay, all changes now. Okay, let me click preview. Okay, it's not. Okay, okay, sorry. It's 65. It's correct. Now it is. So if in earlier case it is we gave 60, so it is now if we give the more value, let's say 67, then it will show the error. You can see it is. So like this, once the form got created, if you want to do any changes in the rules and all, we can do it. So in one simple click, we can easily convert any image into the UiPath particular app. Now let me create. Now we'll see with how PDF file will be converted into the UiPath app. So now this time I'm selecting this PDF file. This is the employee personal information. Here we have this is the form. First name, middle name. Certain fields are there with the employee related photo and all. Now I'll give this form to the app. We'll see how it will create the form. Now I'm selecting this form here. This PDF document, employee personal information. Even creating entity also option also enabled there. So it will create the database thing. Hardly it will take 1 to 2 minutes based on the number of fields it is there and all. Couldn't generate entity for this app. Maybe some fields it didn't create the entity due to some error. We can create it later also if required. So now you can see form got created. Let me click on this preview. Pop-up is block. But if you are uploading any PDF files and all, there should be one service called document manager service should be enabled in our tenant. Then only we can it will allow the PDF files. Here you can see document understanding document. This should be enabled. Then only it will allow us to upload the PDF file. Else it will throw some error. I will show you what kind of error will throw in that also. See now with this PDF document, whatever the fields are there, employee name of the department, first name. For photo also you can see this is what great. If you click on this, then you can select the photo in our system. So it's select. We can select the photo also. So first name, last name. For date of birth also it gave the date calendar. You can select the date. Here in the previous image for the city and all we have gave this drop down kind of thing here. But in the PDF, if you see in the gender and all, male female is there. So it's not a, like a drop down. So here it is take like some text box only it understood. Gender. Here you can see male female is there. So automatically it will detect that AI has that capability is there. Based on whichever things are there, it will take the corresponding values and all. For natural status, it is blank here, so it's not a kind of any drop down or anything. So it here it was text field here. If you are providing more than one values in the drop down or any other format, so it will consider as a drop down. It will show all the values there. Even height also in centimeters, right? Should it is allowing the numbers only here. So automatically the rules also got created. It's taking only numbers here. Current designation, current cadre, current office, everything is there. Till the end of the form, everything got created here. You can see under employee office details, designation, office cadre. So this is the this is the most advantage of this autopilot feature. Simply you can it will create just you can draw on one of the image or anything on the dashboard. You can just take the pic and upload. It will create the form. Just high level it will create the form. If you want to define any rules and all, you can define it later. If you want to do any changes in the alignment also, we can change it later. If you want to do any alignment changes and all, let's say this one. See under employee details, this is the first container you have. This is the department field. Now here it is there. If you want to do the alignment change, we can do it. If you want to do any stylings, apply anything, there are tab called separate tab is there style. You need to go there. Here it is top label placement. You can see. So we can change the alignment also. By default, as per the image or whatever the PDF file you uploaded, it is created. Later we can, if you want to do any changes in the alignment and all, we can change it. There are so many styles are available. If you are writing any website designing means you need to write a lot of CSS code and all. But in the UiPath apps, you no need to. As I mentioned earlier in the yesterday's session, also it is a low code tool. No need of any code writing. Even non-technical users also can simply create any apps and all. Just it is a drag and drop. Then we can apply the styles and all everything here. If you want to apply any background color, if you want to do any changes in the font, also we can change it. What is the label size? There are different is there pixels, percentage, em. If you want to change it to bold, italic, all the styles are available here. If you want to do it underline, if you want, so in this way we can go to one by one control, and we can change the styles also. If the document manager service is not enabled, let's say in the here service is not available, let me upload some PDF file. We'll see what is the error. Now I'm uploading some PDF file here. See, unable couldn't process the file. Please check if a tenant has document understanding enabled and you have sufficient AI units are there. So to autopilot should run, there should be document manager and AI unit should be enabled. Then only it will work. So for this particular tenant, it's not enabled, so it is throwing the error. That is the reason I have created in other tenant. Their document manager and AI units are enabled, but for images it will create it. There is not required the document manager. Only it is required for PDF files only. And also simply we can provide some description also, like create login form, username and so I'm selecting the create entity option also, so it will create the entity. If it doesn't, if you not require the creating any data service, we can uncheck it, then click on send button. Minimum 20 characters is required for the description here. See, with the simply I provide the text like create user form with username, password, and submit button. So it created the form. I clicked on preview mode. So it's created. Those if star means it is a mandatory field here. So we can enter any text here and then click on submit button. Just created. If you want to add any additional rules like if username or password is not entered, if you want to disable the submit button also, those will come under rules. We need to define those rules in the form. Under login form there is a container, under that button is there. So here we can define those rules and all. So there are three ways to create any form in the autopilot. One is uploading any PDF file, it will be converted into the app, and other one is uploading any image. Image should be in jpg and png format. Only those two formats only it will be allowed. And you can provide describe your app, what are the things you and what purpose you want to create form. Just you can provide simple description, it will convert into the form. Yeah, that's all from my end. If you guys have any questions or anything, please feel to ask. Let us enable the permissions to you guys.
1 second, Lakshman. So my screen is visible, right?
What Muddu?
My screen is visible, right?
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Okay. So yeah, as Lakshman explained, an employee, or when you onboard an employee, we need these applications, workdays to manage jobs, and then to create tickets, and then so many mails. So all these can be integrated within one app like this, and then you can make this end-to-end automation. And then Lakshman also explained about how do we create apps with autopilot's description, as you can see in that video. So if you just type the text properly, and then if you paste it here, then if you just click on go, and then that will create you an app. Lakshman already showed you, and then this part also Lakshman showed, like PDF to app, and then can generate expressions also automatically. So here they're selecting the value for total. So you can just so you saw, right? So you just have to click there, and then that will automatically generate an expression. Let's see it again. So for total, okay, he clicked on this bulb, and then he is entering the description for the expression that he needs. And then he click I mean, just have to click on this arrow, and then that will automatically generate you the expression. We have this feature in Studio also, UiPath Studio also. I think in the next version, if you have 2000 from 2024.4, I think, yeah, from 2024.4, you'll have this autopilot's help also. If you have, for example, if you're using link query in UiPath Studio, there will be a helper. You can just search like I need link for these things. It will automatically create your link query. So that's autopilot expression generator. And at the end, so if you want to learn UiPath apps, you can go to uipath.com. If you want to know about UiPath apps, like in business side, you can just go to uipath.com and /apps, and then here you can see how UiPath apps is helping in your automation. And if you have any questions related to UiPath apps, you don't have to wait for anyone, or you don't have to wait for one more session. You can just go to forum.uipath.com, and there you have to log into, I mean, do a sign up, and then there will be a new post. You can just click on new post and then ask your question. There will be a lot of developers waiting for your question there, so they'll answer. And then additionally, if you want to know and if you want to test the new features that are under development inside UiPath, that we have like uipath.com.insider. We have insider portal. Just log in with your organization email. There you can see the roadmap of UiPath for this year, and then what are they inventing currently, like which feature is going to come alive in next 6 months or next 3 months. All those things you can see in insider portal. So I would highly recommend you to sign up also in uipath.com/insider portal. And yeah, these are the main things. You can go to academy, and then there is a separate course for UiPath apps. You just have to search and then log
Yeah,
in,
Muthu,
then
just now I
complete
have
it.
shared that apps course in the chat window.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recently 2 weeks back only UiPath Academy, in UiPath Academy there is new course released for the apps. Just in the chat window I